Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq!
Wait a minute. Did Shaq really carry Kobe? Let's discuss. Kobe Bryant is one of the most beloved and accomplished players in NBA history. And yet, he's also one of the most debated. How could a player be so fiercely defended by some as one who truly deserves to be in the conversation as the greatest of all time?
It'd been probably more fun to play with LeBron, but if you want to win and win and win, it's Kobe.
While other circles staunchly claim he's not even a top 10 player.
Kobe Bryant was never once the single best player in the NBA.
That Kobe shouldn't get any credit for the first 3 of his NBA championships because in their minds, Shaq carried Kobe. Now what exactly does it mean to be carried? Is it this? Or maybe this? Is it whenever I get assigned to do a group project and do absolutely nothing at all but still get an A because there's that one person in the group who did all the work? Well, actually, kind of yes. So we're going to break down the idea that Kobe was carried into 3 chapters, but along the way, we'll also take a brief look at some of the most famous carries to help us determine if the Kobe-Shaq situation truly belongs in that category. The most dangerous duo in NBA history was assembled in a matter of just 7 days. After being selected 13th overall by the Charlotte Hornets, Kobe Bryant was officially traded to the Los Angeles Lakers July 11, 1996. Only 7 days later, the Lakers signed free agent Shaquille O'Neal to a 7-year, $120 million contract. And just like that, the Shaq and Kobe combo was born. At the time he was drafted, Kobe Bryant was the youngest player ever selected in the NBA draft, still just 17 years old. Shaq, on the other hand, was 24 and stepping into the prime of his career. In his first 4 seasons with the Orlando Magic, he averaged 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game, and led the team to the '95 finals where they eventually fell to Olajuwon's Rockets. Though they would eventually become an almost unstoppable tandem, Shaq was 7 years older than Kobe, and at this point, the two were at very different stages in their career. Oh look, it's our first famous carry.
4th and 5, the national championship on the line.
In the '06 Rose Bowl, Vince Young literally carried Texas on his back, accounting for 467 of the team's 556 total yards, scoring 3 touchdowns, including the game winner with 19 seconds to go. Now back to Kobe. In their first season together, the 18-year-old Kobe only played 15 minutes per game, averaging just 7 points per contest. Shaq led the Lakers with 26 points and 12.5 rebounds, while key players Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel also helped guide LA to an overall record of 56 and 26. In the playoffs, the Lakers defeated the Portland Trail Blazers in the first round, but fell to the Malone and Stockton-led Jazz, who would eventually face off with Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals. The following season in '97-98, Kobe's usage increased, becoming LA's 6th man while averaging 26 minutes and 15 points per game. Still only 19, Kobe was named to his first ever All-Star team and still holds the record for youngest All-Star in NBA history. In his age 25 season, Shaq continued to dominate, averaging 28 and 11 while leading the Lakers to a 61 and 21 record. LA would once again beat the Trailblazers in the first round, then defeated the Supersonics in the second round, before falling again to the finals-bound Malone and Stockton Utah Jazz. At age 20 and now in his 3rd year, Kobe finally cracked the Lakers starting lineup, starting all 50 games in a strike-shortened season. He upped his averages to 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, while earning a spot on the All-NBA 3rd team. Shaq averaged 26 and 11, getting named to the All-NBA 2nd team. In the playoffs, the Lakers were disappointingly swept by the Spurs in the 2nd round, who went on to win their first NBA championship behind the Twin Towers' Tim Duncan and David Robinson. These 3 seasons leading up to the Lakers' three-peat really set the stage for where Shaq and Kobe were at in their careers. Shaq was in his prime, playing at an MVP level, while a very young Kobe was improving each year and working his way towards superstar status.
Didn't see, it was in the midst of that crowd, exactly what happened.
Great form by the Celtics teammates on this carry. 2008 Finals, Paul Pierce gets carried off the court and taken in a wheelchair, only to bound back a few minutes later.
The Celtics and their fans want to see Paul Pierce in a lot of pain.
According to Pierce, he supposedly faked the injury because he had to go to the bathroom.
And here the ovation as he comes hopping out of the tunnel.
In 99-2000, everything came together for the Lakers. Under new head coach Phil Jackson, the Lakers posted their best record since 1972, going 67-15. Shaq was unanimously named the league MVP, posting ridiculous numbers of 29.7 points, 13.6 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. Kobe again upped his numbers, averaging 22.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, being named to the All-NBA second team, the All-Defensive first team, and finishing 12th in MVP voting. Both Kobe and Shaq finished in the top 5 in voting for the Defensive Player of the Year. In the playoffs, after defeating the Kings and the Suns in the first 2 rounds, the Lakers ran into some trouble against the Portland Trail Blazers in the Western Conference Finals. It all came down to Game 7, in which Kobe Bryant led the Lakers from down 15 in the fourth quarter, finishing with 25 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 blocks, compared to Shaq's 18 and 9. In the finals, LA met up with Reggie Miller and the Pacers. 9 minutes into Game 2, Kobe suffered an ankle injury that forced him to miss the rest of the game and all of Game 3. In Game 4, with the Pacers looking to even the series up at 2 games apiece, a hobbled Kobe came up huge.
And Bob, Kobe is not moving well at all. He is really favoring that foot.
With Shaq fouling out in overtime, Bryant then scored 8 points in OT, finishing with 28 total.
And the Pacers are within 1.
Now you know that Kobe's going to take over the game. Be aware of Glenn Rice's three-point shooting, but Kobe is going to try to attack.
Shaking on Miller and hitting a 2-point basket. He was just inside the line. The Laker lead is 3 again.
How about the poise of this young guy?
As the Lakers won 120-118.
How good is this kid?
I found out Kobe Bryant took over. He's a fabulous player.
The Lakers would go on to win the series in 6 games. When comparing statistics for that entire playoff run, Shaq and Kobe's numbers looked like this. Shaq put up 30.7 points, 15.4 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks per game. All ridiculous, all numbers leading the team. Kobe was second in the team in scoring with 21 points per game and led the team in both assists and steals. But it is worth noting that as dominant as Shaq was throughout these playoffs, he upped his game to an even more insane level in the finals, averaging 38 points and 17 boards per game, totally manhandling the Pacers who had no answer down low.
Back at Olympic Stadium in Barcelona, coming up to the men's 400-meter semifinals. And Derek Redmond of Great Britain has pulled up with an injury.
Look at this. He's going to try to finish his semifinal race.
Redmond of Great Britain pulled up with an injury halfway down the back stretch. He's fighting off those trying to help him to finish the race in his lane. And now the pain too much. As Redmond, with assistance this time, approaches the finish line he had wanted so desperately to reach.
The following year, Kobe and Shaq's scoring averages were nearly identical in the regular season. O'Neal averaged 28.7 points, 12.7 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game, was named All-NBA First Team, and finished 3rd in the MVP voting. Kobe averaged 28.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, was named to the All-NBA Second Team, and finished 9th in the MVP voting. In the playoffs, the Lakers steamrolled through the competition, sweeping the Trailblazers, Kings, and Spurs in the first 3 rounds, including a game where Kobe put up 48 points and 16 rebounds against the Spurs. The Lakers would meet up with Allen Iverson and the 76ers in the finals, finally losing their first postseason game in Game 1 before winning 4 more in a row to clinch the series 4-1. Shaq again won the finals MVP, but this time it was much more of an A-B situation, with Kobe putting up monster averages throughout the playoffs that would have led most championship teams. Shaq put up 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game, while Kobe added 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, giving the unstoppable tandem back-to-back championships. Greatest Carrie ever?
Crowd silent now, as opposed to when the Saints have the ball. Oh, look at this run! What a run! Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
In 01-02, the final year of the three-peat, Shaq and Kobe again combined for massive regular season numbers, with both being named to the All-NBA first team, both finishing top 5 in MVP voting, and Kobe also finishing 3rd for Defensive Player of the Year. The Lakers swept the Trailblazers in the first round and beat the Spurs 4-1 in the second round before clashing with the Sacramento Kings in the Western Conference Finals. The Kings had the best record in the NBA that season, led by All-Stars Chris Webber and Peja Stojakovic, and the series went to 7 games. In Game 7, which was the most watched Western Conference Finals game in NBA history, Kobe came up clutch with 30 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and 0 turnovers.
Too much Shaq and too much Kobe.
The Lakers won by 6 to again reach the NBA Finals.
Sacramento, they thought it was this year, but I'm telling you it's not. Flotty said if we don't have home court advantage, we won't win. What? Flotty, are you stupid? I tell you time again, you need to go when they know your name. And the Lakers, we know how to play the game. You said that we would win at your place. Guess what? Kobe dunked it in your face. You need to go where people know your name.
In the finals, the Lakers swept Jason Kidd's New Jersey Nets, and once again, Shaq won the MVP award. Kobe wasn't too bad either, averaging 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game while shooting 51% from the floor. He was especially dominant in crunch time. In fourth quarters alone, he shot a staggering 63% from the field while scoring 12 and 11 in the final quarter of games 3 and 4. USA Today recognized his greatness, saying, "Never before has a player on the winning team put up the numbers and had the impact that Bryant had against the Nets and not been selected series MVP." In this series, Shaq and Kobe averaged a combined 63.1 points per game. When taking a look at the top scoring duos for every single NBA championship team dating back to 1960, Shaq and Kobe's 3 title runs each cracked the top 12 of the list, with their 2000 finals coming in at number 12, their 01 finals coming in at number 5, and their 63.1 points per game in the 2002 finals coming in as the highest ever for a championship-winning duo in NBA history. And even if you add 63 more teams by also looking at the runners-up, Shaq and Kobe's scoring output in the 2002 finals still comes in higher than every single duo in NBA Finals history other than Jerry West and Elgin Baylor in 1962 and 1963.
To get whatever we want.
All right, there is no doubt that over the course of the three-peat, Shaq was overall the most dominant player. But just because Kobe was the second biggest contributor, does that really qualify as being carried? Does it substantiate the idea that Kobe should not get credit for those 3 titles? The truth is, the Lakers could never have won any of those 3 titles without both Shaq and Kobe. And in reality, it's almost impossible for an NBA team to win a championship without 2 star players. When looking at every NBA championship team from 1960 to present, there have only been 5 that did not feature at least 2 Hall of Famers. Those teams are the 76-77 Portland Trailblazers, 93-94 Houston Rockets, 03-04 Detroit Pistons, 18-19 Toronto Raptors, and 2020-2021 Milwaukee Bucks. Now, of those teams, the 03-04 Pistons already have 1 Hall of Famer in Ben Wallace, and Chauncey Billups is very likely to get in within the next few years, having already been named a nominee in 2022 and just missing the cut. And that's not even to mention that they had 4-time All-Star Rasheed Wallace, 3-time All-Star Rip Hamilton, and Tayshaun Prince, who is one of 12 players on the 08 gold medal winning Olympic Redeem Team roster, which overall makes that Pistons starting 5 one of the most well-rounded in NBA history. So I'm taking them off the list. Then you've got the 18-19 Raptors. Kawhi Leonard is already basically a Hall of Fame lock, and as surprising as it may sound, Kyle Lowry has an 87.4% Hall of Fame probability according to Basketball Reference. That's good for 86 all time. The only player in NBA history with a higher probability who is both eligible and not in the Hall of Fame? 1950s star Larry Faust. So we're taking the Raptors off the list, which legitimately only leaves the 77 Trailblazers, 94 Rockets, and 21 Bucks as the only championship teams in the last 60 years to not have 2 Hall of Famers as primary contributors. And here's another fact. Of players with at least 10 finals games in NBA history, Kobe is the 13th highest points per game average at 25.3 points per game. And even if you take out his other finals appearances and only focus on the three-peat, his finals points per game average in those 3 finals was 22 points per game. That would still be good for 26 all time and ahead of other great champions such as Tim Duncan, Magic Johnson, and Bill Russell. Does that belong in the famous carries category with this?
This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Let's also take into consideration Kobe's greatness for his age during the three-peat run. During the 2000 finals, excluding the one game where Kobe only played 9 minutes due to leaving with an ankle injury, he averaged 19 points per game at age 21. The only other players to average more in an NBA Finals at age 21 or younger are Magic Johnson in 1980 and Alvin Adams in 1976. The following year, Kobe averaged 24.6 points per game in the 2001 Finals at age 22. The only other players to average more in the Finals at age 22 or younger, Tim Duncan in 99, Shaq in 95, and Rick Barry in 1967. Yes, Rick Barry averaged 41 points per game in the Finals at age 22. That's nuts. So when you actually put into context what Kobe was doing on the biggest stage at his very young age, he was historically great. And lastly, you've got to take into consideration the big moments. In all 3 of these title runs, Kobe was often the one with the ball in his hands with the game on the line, and he repeatedly came through with big-time clutch plays. So here's the verdict. Kobe was a superstar during the Lakers three-peat, and just because Shaq happened to be even more historically great during those seasons than Kobe, putting up some of the most dominant finals numbers in NBA history, that absolutely does not mean that Kobe was somehow carried. Saying that Kobe was carried is pretty much like saying Magic Johnson carried Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron carried Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant carried Steph Curry, or that Gail Goodrich carried Jerry West. It is absurd. Anyone trying to make this argument is basically saying that no player should get credit for an NBA championship unless they were the absolute best player on their team during the playoff run. And if that's the case, that would mean Magic Johnson and Tim Duncan both go from 5 titles to 3, Bill Russell goes from 11 to 3, Kareem goes from 6 to 2, and Scottie Pippen goes from 6 titles to 0. And I think we can all agree that those arguments would be absolutely ridiculous. Shaq did not carry Kobe. Shaq and Kobe straight up dominated the NBA together for 3 straight championships. They both deserve the respect as all-time greats and absolutely warrant credit for all the championship teams that they were a part of. So the next time someone tries to tell you that Kobe got carried, tell them no, he wasn't. But that here's a much better example of one of the greatest all-time carries.
Carrie.